Hello, my name is Professor Xavier of Hogwarts University. I'm here to tell you about the history of American Sign Language. Now, the history of American Sign Language didn't truly begin until about 1814, when deaf education was introduced to the U.S. In the early 1800s, though we know there were about 2,000 deaf Americans, there was no standard language, but various signing systems were created in the deaf communities that are now known as Old American Sign Language. The American Sign Language of today is related to Old American Sign Language. Our American Sign Language is traced back to 1814 with Dr. Thomas Hopkins Gaudet, a very important person in American Sign Language history. Gaudet was a minister in Hartford, Connecticut, very close to here. His neighbor, Mason Finch Cogswell, had a 9-year-old deaf daughter named Alice Cogswell. Gaudet realized that Alice was very smart despite the fact that she couldn't hear or speak, and wanted to teach her how to communicate. Gaudet had some success in teaching her how to spell and read, but he didn't know the most effective way of educating a deaf child. So Gaudet gained support from the community and raised enough money to travel to Europe. Since there was an educational deaf history in Europe, this was where Gaudet could study the proven methods for educating deaf children. Gaudet first met Ambroise Sicard in London. Sicard was the head of the National Institute for Deaf Mutes in Paris. Sicard was in London presenting his theories about deaf education and demonstrating his successful teaching methods. 2 accomplished deaf teachers from the National Institute were with him, Jean Massieu and Laurent Clerc. Clerc is also a very important person in American deaf history. Both of them were once Sicard's students. Gaudet was in awe of all he learned in London. Sicard extended an invitation to visit the National Institute in Paris, and Gaudet accepted. Gaudet attended daily classes with Sicard, Massieu, and Clerc at the National Institute for 2 months. He studied their teaching methods and even took private lessons from Clerc. When Gaudet was getting ready to return to America, he asked Clerc to join him. Clerc was one of Sicard's best teachers, and Gaudet knew he would be a huge help in establishing a school for the deaf in America. Clerc agreed. In 1817, Gaudet and Clerc's American Asylum for Deaf Mutes, now the American School for the Deaf, was established in Hartford, Connecticut. This was a huge milestone in American deaf history. This was the first free public school for the deaf in America. Alice Cogswell was the first to enroll. The school grew quickly with Gaudet as principal and Clerc as head teacher. Deaf people from all over the United States were brought together for the first time. Just like at the National Institute for Deaf Mutes in Paris, the children brought signs from home with them. American Sign Language stemmed from these signs as well as from the signs of the French Sign Language. By 1863, there were 22 schools for the deaf in the United States. In 1863, the Columbia Institute's College Division, the National Deaf Mute College, opened. This was the first college for the deaf in deaf history. In 1891, the first training center for teachers of the deaf was established at the school. In 1893, the National Deaf Mute College was renamed Gaudet College in honor of Dr. Thomas Hopkins Gaudet. In 1886, the school's name was changed again to Gaudet University. Gaudet University is known today as the first and only liberal arts university for the deaf in the world. It's in our very own Washington, D.C. So there it is, Dr. Thomas Hopkins Gaudet, along with Clerc and his first students, created American Sign Language as we know it today.
You may wonder how people are deaf say names, what names are in the deaf culture. When you've just entered a deaf community, usually you'll spell out your name with finger spelling. For instance, Abby. They may give you the gift of a name sign, and in deaf culture it is considered a gift, and it's only something given by somebody in a deaf community. Name signs are usually something that describes something about you. It can be an adjective or something you're known for. I don't have one yet, maybe I'll get one soon, but here are a couple examples of people I know. My cousin Lindsay is deaf, and my Aunt Lynn is her stepmother, and her name sign is, so her name is Lynn with an L, and this is the sign for mother. So she's Lynn, who's a mother. And my cousin Alice, who is Lindsay's stepsister, she loves to sing, and her name starts with A, so this is her name sign. Alice who sings. Here's another one.
Hey, I'm Mike. This is M, and I'm Mike who bikes.
Katie, K, who's beautiful, so she can be Katie who's beautiful. One way to communicate in sign language is fingerspelling. It's great because all you need to know is the alphabet, although if you're with someone who's experienced, they often spell very quickly and it can be hard to understand. So you may have to ask them to slow down, or maybe for a while have them write things out. If they're okay with having you move slowly and you're okay with moving slowly, then fingerspelling is great, because if you know how to spell, you can say anything. There are a couple rules to fingerspelling. If you have more than one letter, the same letter, for instance in my name, A-B-B-Y, you would go A-B-B-Y. You would make your sign and move it over, and then continue your word.
One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can I have a little more? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I love you. A, B, C, D. Can I bring my friend to tea? E, F, G, H, I, J. I love you. Bum, 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 ba-dum. Sail the ship. Bum, ba-dum. Chop the tree. Bum, ba-dum. Skip the rope. Bum, ba-dum. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. All together now. 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 1, 2, 3, 4. Can I have a little more? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I love you. A, B, C, D. Can I bring my friend to tea? E, F, G, H, I, J. I love you. Bum, 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 ba-dum. Sail the ship. Bum, ba-dum. Chop the tree. Bum, ba-dum. Skip the rope. Bum, ba-dum. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. All together now. 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 All together.